could do a hair flip, looking straight down at the new girl in town. Fresh from the heights and I make it feel nice. Just 'cause of me, I could do anything.
Hey guys, it's your girl Lasagna Lopez here at ShyftU podcast. I got my girl over here, T Boogie. Yeah, she's co-hosting with me today. Man, and we had the incomparable Damon Thomas, 5-time Grammy Award winner. The list goes on and on. He's been, soundtracks for 15 movies. I'll let him tell you all that he's done. I can't even sum it up. So, what's up, D?
Hey, what's up? How you guys doing?
Thank you for blessing us today. As you and I have previously spoken about, that this podcast is about people's evolution or shift.
Right.
And we're trying to be relatable to other people so we can erase the fear of change.
Yes.
And how people can see that when you shift, regardless if you take 2 steps back, move 4 steps forward, there's growth in that.
Yes.
And it's okay to move forward. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I guess we can start with the Underdogs, I guess. That was a 16-year period. But even before that, prior to that, there was I would say a 4-year period with Babyface. So there was a shift in between being someone signed to Babyface to going to start my own company and starting the Underdogs. Mm-hmm. I remember that shift. I remember I called him Kenny. Kenny said to me, he said, you need to start your own thing. And I remember being so disappointed and not being able to, or thinking I wasn't going to be able to work with him and had to do something different.
Right.
And making the shift. I'm in my early 30s at that point. And,
Okay.
So, and starting the Underdogs was great. It was a 16-year run. We sold a couple 100 million records just writing and producing for different artists. Mm-hmm. We did a lot of the American Idol artists. When they won, we would work with them. And then we were very blessed and fortunate with, usually writers and producers don't get big opportunities to do movies. We did Dreamgirls. We did Shrek the 3, Kung Fu Panda. We did a movie Bobby, which we got a Grammy for Aretha Franklin and Mary J. Blige, the end title for that. And we did Sparkle. We did Get On Up, the James Brown movie. So
Did you really?
Yeah. So we were
I don't think you told me that.
Yeah, so we were able to work with Chadwick Boseman and
that's awesome.
we worked on Pitch Perfect 1 and 2 and 3, and then we did Straight Outta Compton.
Didn't know that.
Oh, that's dope.
And and others, so we were fortunate enough to work on the music for those movies. Like, for instance, Dreamgirls, it was 61 pieces of music, I think, when it was all said and done. And
wow.
That was our first movie. It was really big, and it wasn't Soul Plane. Not to diss Soul Plane, but it was a big opportunity.
No, we get it.
You know what I mean?
It was major. It was a big
It was a major film. So we started off there, and we kind of built that business. And I think after we both kind of split and went our separate ways, for me it was sorting out. At first I thought, maybe I want to continue the production and songwriting thing, and then. As you take that break, and this is right before COVID, as you take that break and you sort out ownership and having ownership in our business and understanding that, hey, if we made, if the Underdogs made, I'll just throw out a number, if they made $50 million, then someone else made $500 million because you really don't own it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for me, it was like, okay, well, let me figure out how to have ownership in something, and that's
the common
awesome.
thing
that's
that
it.
we've been talking about is ownership. I
because
think
we don't own it.
Right, we're realizing that we get that freedom, whether it's financially or creatively for yourself, with ownership. And I feel like you can say this or not for yourself, but for me, I was taught to survive, and I'll say this every podcast. I wasn't taught to necessarily prosper, right? They were like, get you a sound degree and career, pay your bills, good credit, buy you a house.
Right.
But when it comes to entrepreneurship, that wasn't really necessarily enforced, because I don't even know if it was on the radar of that generation, because they were taught to survive.
Right.
That's right.
And so I think that now, with me making the shift, during the COVID period, I realized just how important it was not to just be a doctor, to just be a surgeon, but to have more control of every aspect of my life.
Yes.
So that's where this was birthed. So for you, when you had that shift between going from Babyface to going to the Underdogs, how were you able to do that? Was this something that he helped you set up? Was this something you had to figure out yourself?
I think there was momentum. He helped me, and I probably didn't see the help at the time.
Okay.
Because he made sure I had my first #1 records. So at that point, you're hot. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So if you can't figure it out from there and sort it out, and you're already in the industry, you're known.
Right.
If you can't figure it out from there, you probably shouldn't be doing it. And I think it was a test also to see if I was able to do that, because we're still close today. So
good.
And we've written songs past that point. Even when we were the Underdogs, he wrote with us on things. So and we still work together to this day. So I'm fortunate enough to have that relationship still.
Right.
But yeah, it was at first I was, disappointed, but then when I realized, hey, I can do this, I started my own company, and boy, do you learn a lot through that first company. You learn, you go through a lot, you learn a lot. I will say this to you, in trying to build any business to young people, and whether you're doing music or you're doing a doctor, if you in that business, if you find out that, hey, someone got you, like they took advantage of you.
Right.
Do they do that in the doctor business too?
What?
Okay, so I could
in the doctor business, absolutely.
Shoot. Yes, absolutely.
Once you realize they got you, you could spend your time and focus your time on being upset, mad, and trying to go after somebody. But if you gifted, God gave us all a gift, all of us sitting here.
Yeah.
You can turn that around, and you can make the decision at some point that, hey, look, they got me. I'm going to do something else positive.
I'm going to learn from that.
I'm going to learn from that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Time is more valuable than money and everything.
Did you read my
right.
blog?
No.
I said time is our most valuable asset.
Yes, it is.
It is.
So if we spend our time, like you said, looking at the negatives and saying, okay, you got me, you won that one, right? It's
That's
not
right.
even worth the battle, because you have so much more greatness ahead of you. And I think that's where
right.
I'm at.
You'll spend 5 to 10 years chasing somebody
Right.
that did something and trying to. Maybe you get rewarded at the end of 5 or 6 years, but that was 5 or 6 years that you weren't making music or building a different business or doing something different
Or moving forward.
And I believe in just moving forward, and
That's awesome.
and that's how I got to Thomas Crown. I just I wanted to have.
And that's the name of your current label,
Yeah,
Thomas Crown.
Thomas
Okay.
Crown. So that doing it, and I wanted to do it in a way because like you hear all these stories. I'm sure you guys have seen TLC and these stories and different. I wanted to do it in a way where, there's enough money in our business. When you look at it, I think it was a couple of years ago during COVID, they said $17 billion was made, and only 12% was paid out to artists and producers. And
Really?
when I realized that, I was like, I gotta own it.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
So if you think of someone like Baby from Cash Money, he owns it. He's always owned most of it. So like he was, if you think about a R&B producer or a pop producer, they're supposed to be the ones that own it.
Yeah.
He was
Right.
smart enough to own
And
it.
Master P too, right?
Yeah, he owned his as
Yeah.
well. So they owned theirs. And you think hip hop, they don't. No, it's not true. They were smarter, much smarter than all of us. So I said, well, hey, it's not too late to figure out how to own it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you make the music. Even if you think about Prince's argument, he said, hey, well, if I own the studio and I make the music, shouldn't there be a different deal that I'm able to make with Warner Brothers? And Warner Brothers didn't want to make that deal because, and they should have in hindsight, because even if they were making 20% of Prince instead of 80% of Prince,
They look at
It's
how
still
much
Prince.
money.
It's still
Passive income.
Yeah,
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
Because they didn't
That's
have
right.
to do anything.
They didn't have to do anything.
Right.
So once you realize that, I look at my writing and producing as like I'll give the music away for free so that I can own the makeup brand and the doll brand and whatever else I'm doing.
Right.
That I can, the music. God gave me that gift, but I don't even pay attention to that gift. I'm
Really?
blessed. No, I do it and I'm good at it. But I'm really trying to get to this other things that you can do. And we always think it's about just, hey, I need to make a hit record. Or I need
Like
to
being
do
one
this.
dimensional.
Just tunnel vision.
Yeah.
I got a girl group. They're getting ready to come out. So, and it took 2 years to develop, and it it's 5 girls, but we went through maybe 4 other girls to get to the 5.
Right.
And then we got then it's the rehearsing every day. So all of these things.
But they don't develop artists anymore.
We do. And
And
that's
that's gonna
the
be the
difference.
That's the difference.
So the difference, and they don't do it, and that's why you don't have a new edition. Or, like I have the name for the next guy group we're going to do, and I don't even have the guys, but I have the name of
What's
the
the
brand.
name? Can you tell?
Heartbreak.
Heartbreak?
Yeah, it's going to be like New Edition meets Backstreet Boys meets NSYNC all together. But I want
That's
it to be
awesome.
diverse. I don't want it to be just black boys or just white boys
Right.
or just this. I want it to be
A diverse
group.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And
Y'all hear that? That's the call out. When can they do auditions for the group?
ASAP. If you know somebody, you get a piece. That's what I'm saying. Find me. I'm looking for 5 guys. So I'm going to do that. And the same way we did the girl group, Expensive. So
Okay.
and it's exciting. I'll say this. I knew that, the Underdogs, we worked hard enough where we earned a seat at the table. Meaning,
Okay.
if I came up with something great, I could call L.A. Reid, or I could call Larry Jackson, or I could call Mark Pitts, and they're going to come and pay attention because
You've already
earned-
gained their respect.
respect.
And
Yeah,
right.
and I was shocked L.A. Reid actually came to our studio out here. He drove to Sewanee, and he could have said, meet me in the city somewhere. He drove out to see it.
Out to see it.
But in exchange, I can say that when I remember him calling me years ago and saying, hey, I'm doing this thing X Factor. Can you and Harvey come out and help me with this? And we did. We went to Miami. So those kind of things mean something. So I've been very in doing this shift. I like that. In making this shift, I wanted to make sure I didn't call anybody too soon. I wanted to make sure that I had.
That you did all the background work.
Yeah, I had to do the background.
You came.
Being prepared.
So we talked about being
You gotta-
prepared.
if-
Ownership. We have a common theme with all the things we've been talking
Yeah.
about. Now, before you even worked with L.A. Reid, what were you doing before that? Like, how did that shift occur? Because this, people may say, well, you know what? All of us won't have the opportunity to rub elbows with L.A. Reid or with Babyface.
Right.
Like, how did you even get to that
Well,
point?
how did I get to the point of working with
Working
them?
with Babyface. I'm sorry.
Working with Babyface. Yeah, well, working with Babyface. A guy named P. Farmer introduced me to Babyface, and I'm working on the new Usher LP. That's why I'm working with LA out here, and so he asked me. LA asked me about the group because they saw I'm posting everything. I'm posting, so if you go to my Instagram, you see me posting about whatever it is I'm working on. So he inquired about it, but Babyface is the person that I work with and met first, and he's family to me, And then I work with Kevon Edmonds, his brother, in After 7. I don't know if you guys know that kid.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Him and I are super close.
Yes,
so,
definitely know
Just,
After 7.
I've known.
So
them.
did you grow up in the industry, or do you
Me?
have family members that were in
I'm
the
from
industry?
Kansas City, Missouri originally. I'm really now from LA because I ran LA pretty much for 30 years.
Right.
But I grew up in Kansas City, and no, this is God bless me. I mean, my mom worked at. How did it start? My mom worked at General Motors, and she was a supervisor. So she they had to go to Tarrytown, New York, my senior year in high school, and she bought me a studio when I was like, I don't know, 13. I had a full studio in our house, and I took piano lessons since I was 5.
Oh,
Wow.
So and I wanted it.
You got to see his fingers, girl. Dude is a monster.
Yeah. So I wanted it. It's something that you. Now that I'm older, the songwriting thing and being able to sit down and just write a song, that's not something that you can be taught. It's such a gift from
It's
God.
definitely a
It's a
gift.
gift.
I see how you and
Yeah.
Jay work together.
Yeah.
It's a gift. He's gifted.
It's just abnormal.
Yeah.
Jayla's like that.
Who?
Jayla, my
She's-
oldest,
wow,
it's
yeah.
it's
It's a
I'm
gift.
at all. It is a gift.
Yeah.
He used to be like, I'm at all. The fact that you can operate on people, I'm like, no, I'm at all.
I'm in all that.
No, because the creativity is like, where does
creativity
it
is
come
different,
from? Like, what inspires you to do it? How do you? Is it?
And where do you get
he
your
told me
inspiration?
sometimes it's a word. It could be a word, or where do you get your inspiration from?
It just won't stop coming.
It just comes.
That's dope.
It won't. I think because I've accepted that God gave me this gift and I'm doing so much to help younger people that it just won't stop. Once you accept that, not to go all biblical on y'all. That's just.
I'm spiritual,
Yeah,
and I
for
have
sure.
listen. I have no shame in that.
Yeah, I feel like that's. I feel like I'm a better songwriter and producer today than I was when I was 30. So I just, and then I've also gone through 3 cycles of music. in my career. So when you're 30 years plus, you've seen things change and you see it coming back.
They've been shifting.
It's shifting, right? So, there was the Spice Girls in the 90s. Now I'm doing the new version of what that is now.
Okay.
Coming off of, if you think of, we had NWA and all that stuff happening. And now with hip hop, it's like, oh man, it's tough, because, there's so much to me. I love hip hop music. I love all music, but I don't like to see our young people die or get killed or anything like that.
For sure.
The messaging is just different.
Yeah. So I think that's turning around. I think there's a shift in that as well. And I think people want something different out of it. It's music. So I think that I'm leaning towards top 100 music and doing things that can be positive. Like, I can't really name artists on here, but certain artists you want your kids to be able to listen to, they can't listen to that album.
So when you say you like to help young kids now, what aspect are you doing that? As far as your work ethic, as far as the craft?
So our second artist will be Nasser. He's the young man that I met on my partner's son. And we beat him up. It's not he's got it tough because he is Montef's son, and he should have been first, but he's coming second, and he's happy to come second. But it took that little bit of extra work for him to get there. It wasn't, and I'm proud of him because he did the work. You know what I mean? Because we weren't going to just let him do it because we started a label. We in it now. Right. If you're going to do it, we can't. I said to every artist that we work with, my reputation is great, and my reputation is your reputation. You represent me. I can't go, introduce you to someone or go make a deal with someone
if you're
for
not
you
together.
If you don't have it all the way together. Right. So over the last 6 months, as we knew we were gearing to do the girls, he had to do the work. And being there for them and watching them go through the artist development and telling them, hey, that's corny, or you can't do this or do that. That's all part of it.
But
and
how are you keeping them focused with them seeing what's out
everything
there?
Else that's going
everything
on,
is out, and them having the faith to believe in this is what's going to give me
like trust the direction.
Yes, trust.
I would say it's our. I've been blessed enough. Montef is great at doing things. Talking to the artist, sitting down with them, keeping everybody on the same page, and Christine is amazing.
These are your partners.
Yeah. Okay. She's amazing. Like I didn't know, starting a partnership with Montef, I didn't know that she was going to step up. She's there with the girls every day for 8 hours while they rehearse and while they do this. After she does her day job that she's not going to be doing for much longer, but she's doing that. Everybody's making that sacrifice so that we can have ownership. So
where you can focus on the artistic part.
Yeah, I can do all the other
things. And they're doing that. So that's just showing the importance of, so you're showing them the importance of collaboration.
Yes.
And to pretty much stay in your lane, right?
Stay in your lane and trust the process.
And trust the process and work together. You can
we all have to trust each other in that. We've all, look, you have your growing pains with that because, in the beginning of that, with partners, you might step on this person's toe and you might say this the wrong. You got to go through that, but we work through all of that. We don't have any issues. We just seamlessly work together and we figure it all out, And
so from a personal standpoint, what shift or growth have you seen as an individual?
Me?
So not just in the business. So
there's a lot of things. I had to reprogram my mind being here. Like, so this is personal, right? LA is wild, and it's just getting wilder, right?
Okay.
So I think for me, I knew that I needed to step away from LA because it's just so much foolishness going on.
Really?
And foolishness is at your front door when you walk outside. And so I wanted to, being here, I don't have to deal with all of that. So I'm able to, you get back to being yourself and doing the things that you want to do, and
more clarity.
Way more clarity. So and like. It's just I could go back there and be different because I've reprogrammed my mind.
I feel like that about Buffalo.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't want to. I would never want to go back to live. That's my hometown.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I did go back there the way I am now, my experience would be completely different.
And you see it differently.
And you see it differently.
I see things differently. I see the stuff a mile away. But when you're in it and you're making money. This is another thing that's hard for people. When you're making a lot of money and you're making, it's hard for it to stop and they send the bullshit to you while you're making money to keep you distracted. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. It's kind of like keeping you a slave to it, because you get used to it. You get used to the lifestyle, and then you don't want to skip a beat with that, and you may make decisions to do things that if you had clarity, you may not have done it.
Yes.
Right.
You know,
cloud your judgment and your focus.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you don't, for me, you don't get to own anything because they don't want you to own anything, and they're going to always give you enough money where you're fine.
They give you
know?
just
Yeah,
enough.
just enough. That carrot, just enough.
Just enough to say I made it, and then they take a little bit back. So, man, I hope y'all hearing this. Ownership is key, and having clarity, being grounded. I think understanding your worth and your value.
Yeah.
You do seem different since the last time we talked. I probably was like all focused, and you were just all happy and hyper. But you do seem a lot more focused, like intentional. That's the word I'm looking for.
I will say this: if you're in this business, I spoke about this earlier. If you get if something happens, you're not. One thing that I can tell you for sure, because I've seen it many, many times without spilling names. I think that if something bad happens to you, if you're able to forgive and move on, first of all, it's gonna benefit you more. A lot of people probably be like, I'm not gonna leave that $10,000 on the table. I'm not gonna leave that $100,000, whatever that you've lost on the table. I'm gonna go after that.
Yeah.
And you're wasting your time. When they got you, especially in our business. It's tough. Because you'll spend months. And the amount of time that it takes you to hire a lawyer, pay a lawyer, sue somebody, go through the process, you could have made $1 million trying to go get 100.
And you're only draining yourself through the process.
Yeah.
And you're spending your money.
Yeah.
So I believe in forgiveness, and I believe that I've seen enough things. I've seen people do things to me, and I've seen the craziest things happen to them without me having to be involved. The whole thing that we say in church, let go and let God. God will handle those things, I believe. And if you're really if your heart is in helping and doing things and trying to do stuff for others, you can't be focused on bad, because all you're going to do is do something bad or think about something bad, and you're dragging that energy.
Well, you know what issue I would have, because I'm just such a loyal person, and I feel I am authentic. And I think I just had this talk with my daughter the other day. Like, you can't expect people to reciprocate what you give. Whenever you do something for somebody, you do it with the intent of just that. And not necessarily, you just do it. Yeah. And I think my evolution, my shift has been recognizing it's not me. So, when somebody does something to you, you start to look back at yourself and say, what did I do? Why did they do? I mean, you do say these other things about them, but even if it's subconsciously, you think it's something wrong with you. And then me understanding that everybody works from a space of their own trauma, you say, okay, I don't know why he or she did that, but it had nothing to do with me. I know this is what I brought to the table.
Yes.
And I know that I came from a place of peace and a place of love.
Yeah.
And so that's the same revelation I'm getting about myself as well.
Yeah, you know, like, taking the high road is tough sometimes, ain't it?
It is. It is.
I've learned it.
But like you said, in time, right? Is God, whatever God's will is for you, is for you.
It's for you.
And
you're not going to miss it.
And you're not going to miss it. And I'm learning to be appreciative of his no's as much as his yeses.
Yes.
I always say the no's aren't no's, the no's are not now.
The no's are sometimes him getting you out of the way of something you're supposed to be.
It could be,
right.
That's right. It could be saving you too.
Saving you.
Can be saving you or showing, taking you down a path you couldn't even envision, that could be yours, So that is awesome. I love that. So I know you're a church boy. You started in the church. How did do you still do gospel stuff?
So I just did Tina Campbell for Mary Mary.
Did you?
Oh, awesome.
Did you work with Warren Campbell?
I worked with Warren Campbell before. So my first gospel stuff is with Warren, or with My Block, I guess you can say, because I did Tina's first album. I did a song. Then I did The Walls Group, which we were nominated for a Grammy for, me and Warren and Eric Dawkins and The Walls Group. Nice. And then I just did one for Tina for her new album. It's tough. It's really, really good.
You had to hear it. When does her album come out?
I'm not sure, but I'm finishing the song up now. It's really, really good.
That's awesome.
Okay.
And,
Let me know if you need some ad libs.
I got you. So yes, the answer to your question is, it's funny that the gospel business might be tough or something to get into, to break in. Even
really the gospel industry.
It's tough. Yeah, they tough.
Okay.
It's tough. So Warren and Tina, they bless me. Because you gotta have get somebody to get you in there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome to do that. Awesome. So other than the label, what's next?
Just working on different projects, working on Usher and stuff for Chris, and just the regular list of the top 100 list of people that I can grab that I would like to work with. The thing about starting a label, I get to pick what I want to do outside of. I'm not like in the race of let me work on everybody's project. I'm picking the things and
tell me the difference. Is it because they're more so coming to you, or how is it that you're not in that mind frame?
I'm not in that mindset because I was in that mindset before, and it takes a lot just to do that, right? Like I would rather, from a business standpoint, I like the K-pop.
Right.
I like that. I like going over there because the business of it is great. You know what I mean? If you could sell records still, physical copies, I love it. So I do some of that. I just kind of pick, I don't, there's no rhyme or reason. I just kind of pick the things that I want to do. I mean, if I got to work with John Mayer tomorrow, that would be cool. You know what I mean?
I would love for you to work with John Mayer.
So you try to, I don't know that that'll ever happen because he is awesome. But, like I would want to discover the next John Mayer maybe.
Right.
Those type things.
Right. I mean, you've always had like a diverse, selection of people. The people.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a blessing. What else was I going to ask you? So I know you talked about your mom getting you the studio, and then I don't know if we finished talking about how did you get from Kansas City?
Okay, so my mom
going over to LA.
She was a supervisor at Terrytown, and some of the guys that worked on the line that actually built the cars, they were working in Uptown MCA Records.
Okay.
So she said, they were talking about Mary J. Blige, and Mary J. Blige, because they were managing her, but nobody knew who she was at this point.
Okay.
And so my mom said, my son, he does music. You should hear my baby's music. The words, and they laughed. And then I sent her a tape, and they heard the tape, and I got my first deal was at Uptown.
Oh, wow.
So when I graduated, I flew to New York.
When you graduated from high school?
Yes. I mean, I got off the stage and went to New York.
Wow.
So it was that transition, and then I was there for 3 months, and then I went to LA so I had a group. And we recorded an album, and
that's
the rest is history.
Just took off from there.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
So God just kept opening your doors.
And my mom was very instrumental. Like parenting is key. If I don't think that they thought. I know she believed in me because she spent a lot of money on equipment. Costs different then than it does now. But I would say what did she buy? Like 82, 83? She bought home maybe $60,000 worth of equipment.
Wow.
Without telling my dad, he just we came home with it, and he was like, "What is this?"
She's like,
"My baby's making music,
like the future.
Baby's making music.
That's called the future." That is awesome.
Yeah, so that's kind of. She told me later it was her electronic babysitter. She didn't have to worry about me. I wasn't doing anything. I went to private school. I was
right.
So
what advice would you give anybody, not even just young artists, as far as trying to get into the industry who may not have those connections? Because that was like the steps that you made. That's rare. To just have that was just.
Well, I think we're in a different industry now, so young people are able to learn from all of our mistakes. Go educate yourself, look up things, see if you're writing songs, if you're producing songs. There's different routes to get into it. Whether you get a publishing deal, a lot of people are. I hear people online speaking bad about those opportunities with doing publishing deals. But hey, man, sometimes you have to do that to make it. Like I did a publishing deal with Babyface. And I'm so happy that I made that deal. And then I went directly with EMI, and they gave me millions of dollars at that point. But you got to.
So what is a publishing deal like?
A publishing deal is like it's like a loan against your future royalties, right? And you can go make that deal, and they'll go collect your income, right? And I think a lot of people, I hear people frustrated with this, or I signed a bad publishing deal. Man, listen, I signed the same publishing deal that person signed and became a millionaire because I did the work. You can work and write your way through things. People look at opportunities and they want to blame this and blame that. But sometimes if you don't take that opportunity, or somebody opens a door for you, if somebody gives you $100,000 and you're broke, or whatever it is they're going to give you in advance, you should take that and make the best
be
out of it.
intention and know your plan.
Yes.
Because
Because you can look, you can be in and out. You can be in and out of that deal in a couple of years, then own yourself and then do well. It may take that, but people don't realize people are not just giving away stuff for free.
Right. Not at all.
They're just not.
Right.
I paid my. I'm happy I paid my dues. You know what I mean? It taught me something. So you have to do that sometimes. There's no free ride. Sometimes people are lucky enough where they write something and it blows up and they don't have to go through that experience.
Right.
But 9 times out of 10, you have to take advantage of the things that you have in front of you, whether you get a deal here doing this or doing that. And your first deal might not be the deal where you get to own everything. You might have to go through a 4 or 5 period where you giving up something to somebody, and then you can, while you're going through
but you're really you're really learning knowledge. Right.
Yeah,
you're really learning.
What is it to you to make, if you did something, a publishing deal, and if you do it right and you write, well, I think the mistake that people, if you don't write no hit records, you ain't making no money, right? So if you ain't making no money, then you want to go blame the guy that gave you the money and say, oh, he did this, right? You didn't make no hit records.
Right.
Because if you make hit records, they're going to figure out how to give you the money you want.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? You know what I mean?
And then the people have to look at it too. It's like, it's a risk. It's an investment for them.
Yeah, they thought people believe, oh, he gave me, people forget that 50 or that 75 grand or that 500 grand that you might be getting from somebody, they had to work for that. And they don't realize that in order to pay you 500 grand in America today, you got to make $1 million to pay somebody that money, right? So they're not looking at those things. They just look at you as the pocketbook. And then a lot of times, young people don't take that check and go buy a car, go do this or go do that. The thing that I always did first is I always had a studio. You got to have your equipment. Invest in you first.
Invest in you.
Right.
Yeah.
Take a bus, ride an Uber if you got to. Invest in you. Make sure you have the equipment and you can work, and you can, as a songwriter or producer, you can do those things. Or as an artist even, you can have a setup where you can get some stuff and write. And you have to, it's hard work. Bottom line, our music stuff is hard work. Even with the girls that we have, they're there. Let me tell you, they've been, for 3 months straight, they've been rehearsing every day.
Wow.
But people don't realize the work that it takes in order to prepare them so that we can go get the proper situation so that we can put them out. And everybody's giving, even us, we're making I can't really say who with, but it's coming out this year and we're making a major deal. But it's an ownership deal. You know what I mean? Like, we'll own it. Of course, who we're partnering with, they gonna own it. They'll own their piece. We'll own our piece, and we're making sure our artists own a piece of their business.
That's going to be a game changer.
Right,
yeah.
for sure.
So for us, we don't look at them as like they're the next girl group. No, you guys are a brand. So it's not just about music. It's about empowering these young women so they understand.
So that's where you're because remember I asked you, how do you feel you're helping make a difference? That's where the difference is.
Yeah, I'm empowering them. I want them to be wealthy. You have to, people are so, from what I've seen, when you just take it all and you're greedy, you don't get all the blessing anyway. If you make sure everybody's good, I'll have the next group and the people lined up ready to go make a deal with us. So this
is the thing that is in medicine. You can tell me if this is in your industry, where we may have these individual conversations, and even those who may not talk about it, you know that we're getting pooped on, shitted on. You know what I'm saying? And they, whoever you want to say they'll give a select few something to make them feel important or enough money or whatever to keep us divided, right?
Oh yeah.
To use them as pawns and manipulate whoever they can manipulate. So if you have someone vocal like me, you, they're not going to give us that opportunity. We're the ones that's going to get targeted. But when we realize the power that we have, the talent that we have, I mean, all of this music stems from gospel music.
It does.
All of
You
it.
know what I mean?
I believe
like
that.
where all of it, Jayla said her music teacher told her that.
No,
She
I
goes
know.
to a
I
predominantly
can
white
show her.
Yeah,
You know,
it
it's
stems
really-
from gospel music. So we have all the elements culturally and just innately we have it, and somebody else is capitalizing off of it.
Yeah.
So to talk about generational wealth, legacy building, ownership, this is what ShyftU is all about. To get people's minds thinking about their value.
Yeah.
And how do you regain your power? How do you empower yourself? Because, I mean, it's enough for everybody.
There is. That's what I've learned.
But people pride themselves off of having more.
Yeah.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Instead of focusing on their
right.
happiness and being grounded and, you know, being an example or a mentor or helping somebody else. They want us to be us and then them.
Yeah.
Like everybody can eat.
Everybody can eat.
Everybody can eat.
Even for me, so let's go back to songwriting and producing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the room with me, like producers get a fee, right? I don't normally, years in the back, producers didn't have to pay a writer to write on a song. If you write with me, I'm paying you, period, out of my fee. And that's different. I just believe that, first of all, you writers are just as important as producers are. And I think that there's this whole thing that, whatever, that's the way that it was. You don't have to continue doing things the way
you don't.
that they were.
Because writers are, I mean, being married to a writer, a songwriter,
Yeah.
I mean, that's taking time.
It does.
I mean, if you have a great songwriter, the intricacies of it, you know, that takes time, and that person needs to be paid for their time. It's not just, okay, if this record is going to make it. No, I'm working right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because it's like, you know, there's two parts of a song, and I can do both. So there's lyric and melody, and then there's composing the music. And a lot of people think that, what I've learned in Atlanta, they think, oh, you're the producer, or he produced it, and then if the writer is separate, he wrote it. No, you guys wrote a song together. 100% of that song is half of it's music, half of it's lyric and melody. The guy, if you don't have a canvas to paint on, what you painting?
Right.
So I think that there's a big misconception in all of it. All of us are writers. Whether I produce it or not, for instance, a guy, Rod Temperton, wrote Thriller on the piano. He gave it to Quincy Jones to produce. Now Quincy Jones produced it. He's not, but this guy wrote the music and the lyric and the melody.
Okay.
So now today, because musicians are making beats or whatever you want to call it, I don't call myself a beat maker, but they making beats, so they think that that's sometimes that's composing.
But there are some beat makers and not real producers.
They're not. So
it's not the same.
Like I sit down and play everything. There's a difference. A lot of these guys are dragging something that they heard and putting it together with a beat that they don't make, and then they feel like they're a songwriter. You're not a songwriter.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You like, this is de novo.
Yeah,
This is from the,
yeah. I come from a different space, so a lot of people can argue all of that, but the truth is, music is half the song and lyric and melody is half the song, and I feel like all of us should eat.
That's why it's a collaboration, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's collaboration. Well, you gonna show us some of that music
On here?
Yeah. We gonna let's take it to the piano.
Oh yeah. I thought you meant. Yeah. Let's
I can't do that right. Let's take it to the piano.
Yeah,
you ready for that?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Listen, it's been beyond a pleasure, having you here. An honor. I'm so glad to have met you through my husband.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. He's done so much. If you could close with just some bullet points on just people in general, just from your experience artistically and individually, just some pearls. So people's wheels can get turning with shifting. So they can, whatever space they're in, whether it's shifting a relationship, shifting a career, just some pearls from personal experience.
I'll say this. I believe that we need the business as it is. Mm-hmm. But I believe that there's a piece of us to own in it as well. Like, so I don't want to send like there's no hate message with me. Like, I don't hate the music industry. I love it. It's blessed me. Mm-hmm. But as you earn your way through it, figure out a way where you can get a piece of it too.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't have to say it's not a white or a black thing or a Latin or Asian thing. It's anybody can own a piece of it. And you want to own your piece. You want to be able to leave that publishing catalog for your kids, or leave this thing that you own, that legacy.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
You know, you want to begin to. This is a place where you can make a lot of money and begin some generational wealth. So, me being on the second half of my career is all about giving back. I'm different. You know, like I've already earned my spot and earned my seat at the table. So now my job is to give back. If you're in my space, you should be trying to. If you're my age, around my age, I ain't telling my age, but you can look it up.
25.
But, 25 times 2. Yeah. So if you're around there, you should have a different headspace. You should be trying to give back and do things for others. And I think you'll be even more blessed by doing that. That's what I've learned about that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I concur with that. And can't wait to see these groups that's coming out.
Yes.
You let us know. We're going to be right there. Any concerts, any red carpets, any I'm there. I'm your girl.
We got you.
Okay. Thank you.
I appreciate
so much.
you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Fresh from the heights in a